Okay, this is definitely not the main point of this video, but come here and look at this. Look at this. Look at these buttons. So we have the got it button over here, and if I click it, it just goes through the entire status progress, and then if you look at the top right, the went over button does the same thing. And it's super easy to set it up. So let's go ahead and jump into the video. So I am once again tasked with teaching my sister the entirety of an undergrad biology curriculum, so I'm using Notion. So I'm gonna try and use this spaced repetition template that I made a couple of months ago, which I kind of hate because if you look into it, it's really unintuitive how it's set up. There's just like 5 different buttons that kind of do the same thing. So I'm gonna consolidate this, make those clicky buttons you saw in the beginning, and overall just stick it inside the database that I already use for my sister. This is kind of thrown together like this is her spending tracker that she doesn't use, and then this is also not in use. So the main thing that we're using is this question and answer section, and we just populate it with a question, an answer, and then we use a very easy show button to give the answer just in case. And then this got it button kind of pushes it down the pipeline. So if I click got it goes to in progress. If I click got it again, it goes to understood, and then got it, and then got it, and then got it. So this is right now a new question, and I kind of want to implement the spaced repetition thing as well, because up until now we've just been going through the status pipeline instead of actually using spaced repetition. So let's go ahead and jump right in. I'm going to start with a blank page so I can ideate a little bit better. Okay, and then it's just empty right now. And then I'm going to query the database that we're using, which is concepts. Actually, I might just copy it. So I'm just going to steal this right here. I'm going to copy link to view, and then I'm going to put it in here, and then link database view. So that's a really quick way of stealing stuff. And then here, I'm going to get rid of all of these filters and sorts and stuff. Okay, so these are all the cards that are here. So one thing that I really want to pull in from this template is that next review date. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to add in another status property here. So if I open this up, I'm going to add in a spaced repetition status property. Here, I'm going to go to add a property, status, and then I'm going to call this spaced. All right, so here we're going to mimic what we have on this side, which is those 5 levels of spaced repetition. So I believe it's initial review, first session, second session, third session, last session. I don't know how do I. Okay. So here, let's edit this. Okay. Initial review. Let's leave this as not started actually. And then we have initial review completed. And then I can do like 5 more here. First session completed. Second session completed. Actually, maybe I'll name these based on the number of days, because I'm not really sure what these days are. I think it's 1, 2, 3, right? Third session. Yeah. Okay. I guess it's 1 day and then 6 days. Okay, and then we have plus 14 days. And then I think the last one is 21. Let me quickly look at this. 30 days. Okay, I don't know. Her semester isn't even like that long. Okay, plus 30 days completed, and then finally we have done. Also, if the third session is completed, then it's done, right? Oh, there's another session. Oh, that is plus 30 days. Okay. So this is how it's going to look like, right? So haven't started it, haven't touched this concept. Then we're going to have initial review completed. Yeah. And then plus 1 day, plus 6 days, plus 14 days. So when this is completed, it's going to be sitting on this status. Okay. All right. Plus 1, plus 6, plus 14, plus 30. This initial review, I want it to be a like first touch after you make the question. So she's developing these questions and developing the answers, and then she's gonna review them again. Actually, let's do this instead. Make this gray. So it's always like the initial review is always completed because you put the question in, you initially reviewed it. Here we're gonna do, let's start from, all right, so if this is green, blue, purple, pink,
and then red. I'll do orange. Okay, that's cute. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like, and then we're going to use this to develop the next thing. So we have to actually make this work. So if I want a new date called next review by. Okay, so when I create a new question, that review by is going to be today plus 1 day. We'll just leave it as today, that's fine. Okay, so that's going to be today, and then every time I click this button, I'm going to create a new button to click. So every time I click this spaced repetition completed button, so we're just reviewing the question, we're going to be moving this along the pipeline and updating the review by. So we're going to grab something similar to this. Okay. All right, so here, if the spaced repetition is completed, edit property, we're going to edit the spaced repetition status, and then we're going to do a custom formula, grab this, and then if it's initial review completed, we're going to change it to plus 1 day completed. If it's plus 30 days, then we're going to change it to, we're going to leave it as plus 30 days, and that's going to be everything. Okay, now let's see if this actually works. Open this up. Okay, it's not working. We probably have a syntax error. Plus 1 day completed, initial review completed. We're editing the right thing. Are we setting it to the right value? Oh, okay, we're looking at the wrong thing. Okay, whoops, that's my fault. I'll just manually do it. Okay, so we're checking the spaced repetition status and not the regular status anymore. Okay, so that is like that, and then, okay, perfect. Great. Okay, so that works down the pipeline, and then we can set this back to initial review completed. All right, next we have to set the review by date. So we're going to take the same exact if statement because we want it to be different based off of the status. So custom formula again. So initial review completed, we are going to change this to initial review completed. So we're going to get a property, we're going to use let statement to get the date triggered. So completed on is going to be date triggered. So this is the date that it was completed on. Okay, then we're going to say the days to add is going to be decided by this if statement here. So I'm just going to put a comma here, and then this if statement is now going to be whatever this results in is going to be injected into this value right here. So here, I'm going to do a comma, and then I'm going to enter, because this entire thing is going towards this days to add, and then this comma says, okay, I have something else here in the let statement, and then we're going to say date add completed on. We can just use the date triggered, and then days to add, and then we're going to say days. Perfect. And then here, I'm going to close this. We're having an error because this right here is currently a string and not a number, but once we change that, that'll be fine. And we can get rid of this completed on value because we just are automatically using it down here. So if the initial review is initial review completed, that means when we click the button, we want to indicate that we finished the first review. So that means we're adding 6 days to it. So this is going to be 6. This one is going to be 14. This one is going to be 30. This one is going to be 0, and then this one's going to be 0 too. Okay, so what this is saying is if the initial review is completed and we hit this button, we want to add 6 days to it because that pushes me to first session completed, which means I already reviewed it twice. In this stage, I've already reviewed it 3 times. In this stage, I've already reviewed it 4 times, and that should be the final time. All right, so review by, let's say, is today, right? So right now, initial review is completed. So we added the question, we already know the answer. So now if I click this, it should add, so this value should already represent 1 day in advance. And then, so if I click this, that means 1 day has been completed. So the next time that I have to review this is 6 days from now. Okay, and then if I click this again, the next time that I have to review this is like 14 days from now. Okay, perfect. Great. Okay, so that works. So now I just have to think about user flow and how we want to relate these two. So how I want this to work, essentially, from what I've been teaching her and what kind of flow we have right now, I want her to repeat the flashcards based on the spaced repetition value, but I also want her to track her understanding of this when she does the spaced repetition. So these should all be the dates. Review by is on or after, or on or before today, right? Okay, so none of these have been set because there's no review by, right? So let me add one to here. Let's choose one from here. Let's say set the review by date to today. Okay, so here I'm looking at this question, right? So the first thing I'm going to do is put the spaced repetition here. So what I can do here, right, is I'm saying, okay, what are the 5 main levels that ecology works at? I'm like, okay, I think it's organism, population, area, like the place that it's in, it's community, and then it's ecosystem, and then it's biosphere. So I know them. So now I get to click 2 buttons. Or actually, this will jump out of here the minute I click this button. Okay. So first I'm going to say I got it, and then I'm going to say spaced repetition completed. So now in 6 days, this will pop back into my spaced repetition, and I will be able to say, okay, I got it or I didn't get it. Okay, I like how this works. So let's set. So all of these we reviewed yesterday. So I'm going to set. Okay, so I'm going to grab all of these, and these are like level 3 of spaced repetition. So I'm going to edit property. So spaced repetition status, I'm going to say plus 14 days completed. No, I'll say plus 6 days completed because she has the exam. We went over this once. We went over it again. We went over it. Okay, I'll say plus 14 days is completed. So I want her to review these again in 30 days. And I am going to mark these as review by was yesterday. Or no. Yeah, review by was yesterday. Did I update those? Okay, yeah. So all of these, the review by was yesterday. And then if I click, oh, okay, wait. So basically, you have to go through all of these. So I'll change all of these instead of doing this. So here, grab all of these. So the review by should be 14 days from now or 30 days from now. I think 30 days is too much. Okay, so 14 days from now, we want to review all of these questions again, which means the 14 hasn't been completed yet, which means we're still on plus 6. Okay, that makes sense to me. All right, and then all of these were added in yesterday. So I'm going to update these to have initial review completed, and I'm going to change the status to, not status, the review by date to today. Because we did them yesterday, this is the +1. Okay, perfect. And then those should pop up right over here, and we'll look at them, and if we don't know the answer, so then the other example is that we don't know this answer. So what is a recent trend in ecology as of the past couple hundreds of thousands of years? We're looking at this and we're like, okay, I don't know. I don't remember, right? So the spaced repetition has not yet been completed because we want to look at the answer and understand the answer, but we're not going to click the got it button. And I'm going to flip these so that she can click them in the right order instead of clicking them in the wrong order. Okay, and then I also want to change. So I look at this, I'm like, okay, humans started having impact on ecological structure a bunch. So then I close this and I'm like, okay, I didn't get it, but I did finish the spaced repetition. So I'm going to change this to be named something else. Repeated, or went over. I don't know. We can change that later. So got it, went over. So did you get it? No, but you did go over it, and then you click that button. It gets thrown, if we look at it, it gets thrown into the +1 day completed, and the next time we have to review it is 6 days from now. Okay, perfect. So let's set these back. Initial review completed, and then this is going to be today, and now we can use this system. Works. Okay, and I'm also going to decrease the load limit a little bit, and perhaps increase the size just for purposes. Okay, cool. Okay. Perfect, I like it. I wish we could do some type of standardization with the titles though. So like the titles go up to a certain point and then these start showing up, but that's fine, that's fine. Okay, yeah, thanks for watching. I hope this helped you out with the idea of spaced repetition a little bit better. But yeah, and good luck with your studies.